Hello everyone, what is up? It is me, AlbyMTG, and before this video even begins, just thank you. Absolutely thank you. Um, Yesterday's video, I thanked you guys because we reached 250 subscribers, and I was super happy with all the growth that I was getting, and it was just super, super sweet, how, you know, how fast this channel has been growing. I thought it was absolutely amazing. And then we hit another milestone today. Today we passed the 500 subscriber mark this afternoon, which again is absolutely ridiculous. I don't know how my channel just decided to suddenly blow up, not even blow up, but just grow essentially 200%, or I guess 150%. Anyway, math is math is not the subject of this video. This is about Magic cards. But again, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It really does mean a lot, as a smaller YouTuber, you just kind of go and you're watching all these other YouTubers just kind of blowing up, and it's always kind of cool to see them do it, and then now to finally be in the shoes of someone who's, gaining a couple subscribers, it feels really nice. And again, you guys don't need to subscribe to me, but because you guys do, it really makes me happy. And so, again, just really quickly, thank you so much for helping us reach the milestone of 500 subscribers. I really, really appreciate it. There's just no other way to truly say thank you to you guys, but I really, really appreciate the fact that you guys are subscribing, watching the videos, and then of course the supportive comments are absolutely fantastic as well. So with that being said, thank you guys one more time, and we're going to go ahead and get started into the video. So today's video we're going to be talking about Llanowar Elves. Llanowar Elves is seeing a lot of play right now in Standard. Here we can go ahead and see this is MTG Goldfish. The most played cards in Standard right now, number 10 is Llanowar Elves, but it's the only card up here in the top 10 list that is a 4 of in every single deck. Of course, only in green decks, but if you're a green deck, you're running 4 Llanowar Elves. There's just no questions asked. That's basically where all green decks start in this format, is 4 Llanowar Elves, and then you're figuring out the remainder of your 71 cards in total, but 4 of them definitely get put towards Llanowar Elves. Of course, we talked a little bit earlier on this week about the top 10 deck lists, or not top 10, 8 undefeated deck lists. That's really the video that's kind of where most of you guys know me from right now. So, of course, we talked about this deck right here, Mono Green Monument, and you can see that this, of course, runs for Llanowar Elves, and we're going to talk about why this is so scary. How scary truly is it when your opponent goes Forest Llanowar Elves pass? How scary can that be? So, looking at this deck, if your opponent starts, just on this deck alone, if your opponent starts with the Llanowar Elves, they're looking at the possibility of playing Jadelight Ranger on turn 2, which generates a lot of value, either drawing them into additional lands, that way they know they're going to continue to hit their land drops so they can play, more dumb things, or it gets them the possibility of having a 4-3 on turn 2, which of course is very strong. Actually, let me bring up Jadelight Ranger here. So, of course, it explores twice, so you have the possibility of having a 4-3 on turn 2, which is a total of 5 power and 4 toughness if you include the Llanowar Elves itself, which on turn 2 is quite strong. Of course, we all know Steel Leaf Champion is absolutely ridiculous. On turn 2, you can have 6 power out if you count the Llanowar Elves with the Steel Leaf Champion. And then the other 3-drop being played here is Ronus's Monument, or Ronus the Indomitable in terms of creatures, but Ronus you don't necessarily need out on turn 2. Another thing that you can do is play your Aethersphere Harvester on turn 2. That way, when you play your creature next turn, it can be guaranteed that your Aethersphere Harvester can get crewed up, and then you can go ahead and attack in with your Aethersphere Harvester on turn 3 instead of on turn 2 like you would normally be able to. And then also, if you are playing the versions of this deck that do run Ronus's Monument, then of course that enables a Ronus's Monument on turn 2, which again is absolutely ridiculous because that will once again shorten the or lessen the mana cost for all of your green cards. It'll make your Jadelight Ranger then cost just 2 green, and of course your Llanowar Elves can pay for 1 green of that as well. So really, this deck is super scary when you start off with a turn 1 Llanowar Elf. Of course, there's other decks where Llanowar Elf is seeing play as well. We'll go ahead and click Llanowar Elves here. We'll go to Price History and then drag it down to decks that are using it. We'll go ahead and click here on Green-Red Monsters. And then in Green-Red Monsters, it enables things, again, like Jade Light Ranger, Ronus the Indomitable. It allows you to play a removal spell, which is very nice. Having Struggle to Survive here on turn 2 could be very nice. Or the possibility of doing something like Magma Spray one of your guys, as well as play out a Merfolk Branchwalker on turn 2. Again, just generate that value, playing a bunch of really strong cards. So it can truly be scary. And the big thing that Llanowar Elves has going for it right now is that there's not many answers to it currently in Standard on turn 1. Of course, if you're the person on the play and your opponent's on the draw and they have the Llanowar Elves on turn 1, it's a whole lot less scary. Being on having access to 2 mana to take care of the Llanowar Elves really opens up a whole lot of additional options for you to to use. However, in terms of just if you're the one that's on the draw and your opponent's on the play and they go Forest Llanowar Elves, there is currently only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's about 9.5 ways of taking care of a Llanowar Elves on turn 1, and right now all of them are pretty bad. There's like a couple decent ones here, but most of them you wouldn't want to put in your deck. Cards you wouldn't want to put in your deck include Blazing Volley, Fourth Bridge Prowler, and Take into Custody. Things like those. Take care of a Llanowar Elves on turn 1, and also you can see I went through and I did the research here. So I went through all the cards legal and standard, clicked all of the cards that cost converted mana cost 1, and went through and found all of those. So ones that you do want to put in your deck, some good answers that you could have include Fatal Push, Fanatical Firebrand, Magma Spray, and Shock. The other one that I'm also kind of thinking could be a good option here. I'll go on to page 2 here. Where is it? Also, really quickly, I said there was 9.5. That's because I counted Spark of Creativity as a half of a card to deal with it, because there is the possibility that you could take care of the Llanowar Elves, but there's also the possibility that you cast it and it doesn't. So I just counted it as 9 as the half. But here we have Unsummon, and I think this could end up being a really strong way to deal with your Llanowar Elves. The possibility of setting them back, returning their Llanowar Elves, and then also the green deck just likes to be playing one big creature at a time, so the possibility of just being Unsummon as a time walk, essentially, just kind of setting them back an entire turn, could be very, very nice in this format if the green deck really does appear to take off. So basically, I'm pretty sure the scariest thing your opponent can do right now is turn 1 Llanowar Elves pass. Right now, that's basically what it seems. Most of the red decks, of course, are fairly scary as well, but they're able to deal with the Llanowar Elves. But what we're really missing is in things like not black-white, things like blue-white control. Blue-white control, outside of like Unsummon, has no way of dealing with a turn 1 Llanowar Elves. Of course, you don't really play Unsummon in blue-white control, but let me just try and bring up a list here. Teferi, Hero, I need the comma, Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. This will lead us to some blue-white control list. That way we can just take a look at one of those quick. Blue-white approach. So you can see here, again, really no way of dealing with it. Your only options are on turn 2 or later. Here you can see in this specific list too, this list isn't even playing Seal Away. Seal Away can be a very good way to deal with whatever it is that your opponent ends up playing off of the Llanowar Elves. But here, this list appears to be much more heavy in terms of control spells, and if you're going the control spell route, then things get super, super bad for you, and you can be dead before you even get the chance to cast your Settle the Wreckage, or before you even get the chance to cast your Fumigates, if you end up playing the more control-y versions like this blue-white version here that went 7-1 in a standard Pro Tour qualifier. So this is just kind of a little bit of a heads up that Llanowar Elves is super strong right now. There's basically every green deck is running 4 Llanowar Elves, and it might end up being a problem. I'm not really sure. WotC decided to make a very gutsy move by reprinting Llanowar Elves. I'm kind of happy that they did. I like the ability of having powerful magic included back into standard. It seems like a nice gateway to get us back into having more powerful cards in standard, but it could end up being a mistake. I know a lot of people were talking in the comment section about when I was talking about the mono green list. This isn't the mono green list; it's the green red monsters list. Let me get Steel Leaf Champion. This will lead us to the mono green list here. a lot of people in the top 8 deck list video that I was talking about, a lot of people were talking about how it could be a mistake that Llanowar Elves is back because of the power that it gives to decks like these creature-based decks, as well as just like anything that wants to, you know, progress into the game. It could be very devastating. And if you're against, say you're playing the mono green deck and your opponent's playing the mono green deck, if your opponent has the Llanowar Elves and you don't, you're in trouble. And if you have the Llanowar Elves and your opponent doesn't, they're in trouble. And the entire game could just come down to whether or not the player has the Llanowar Elves and the other person doesn't. It could really end up coming down to that, which is kind of unfortunate, especially if this mono green deck ends up being as popular as it seems like it's going to be. You can see here this list being 8-0 in a standard Pro Tour qualifier. There's another, it looks like there was two users, two Magic the Gathering Online users who went 8-0 with Mono Green Monument in the most recent standard Pro Tour qualifier. So I could definitely see this green deck becoming a big thing, and if it does end up becoming a big thing and it comes down to which player has the Llanowar Elves first, it's really going to be very unfortunate for the format, because right now the format seems super, super good. There's a lot of decks in it, but again, all of the all of the green ones are running Llanowar Elves, and if it comes down to a mirror match, you're going to see whoever has the Llanowar Elves ends up winning, or maybe if you're even just green X deck versus green X deck, then it could still just come down to whoever has the Llanowar Elves first ends up winning. So that's something that you don't really want to see in the format. That's more of just kind of like flipping a coin whether or not you had it or not. That's not really the kind of Magic that I like. I like the good grindy games of Magic where, you know, it requires a lot of thinking and a lot of good play and things like that. So this is just kind of a video to kind of talk about Llanowar Elves, and of course to thank you guys for 500 subscribers, because again, it's absolutely mind-blowing to me. I'm still not sure that this isn't just you know, some sort of, I was gonna say some sort of a dream, but of course it's not some sort of a dream. But nonetheless, I'm really, really thankful for you guys. I know this is kind of like the reaction that you would probably see from people who hit like, I don't know, 50,000 subscribers or 500,000 subscribers instead of 500. But after being on YouTube for like almost 2 years now, and just deciding to start taking it seriously a couple weeks ago, and now already seeing the growth that I'm getting off of it, is just super rewarding, knowing that I had this potential all along, and all I had to do was really set myself you know, into the position to where I was motivated enough to want to actually do this YouTube thing. And now that I'm doing it, you guys are kind of rewarding me, and it's super, super cool knowing that this is happening. So again, I would like to thank you guys all for 500 subscribers, and I would like to thank you so much for watching this entire video. If you guys do have any opinions regarding Llanowar Elves, let me know in the comment section down below. Of course, there are some answers to it, but if you don't have the answer to it, it can lead to some pretty deadly things right off the start. So Llanowar Elves could end up being a very, very deadly card in Standard, as it's already showing its impact already this early on into the Standard season. So once again, thank you so much for watching the video. Thank you so much for 500 subscribers, and I will see you guys here tomorrow for yet another Magic the Gathering video.